trendier, edgier. It's not as structured as the classic design all the way. What's the deal with the boy Chanel? The boxy design, the chunky metal logo, is it worth your money? Lifestyle with Isabella. Hi everyone, welcome back to Lifestyle with Isabella. Today we are going to talk about the boy Chanel handbags. These handbags allure to a more masculine design, especially when compared to the classic Chanel handbag. So what's the role of the boy Chanel handbags and are they worth your money? Before we begin, remember I live with two doggies who are right over there right now. Oh, and Rich is chewing on the tissue he took from my trash can in the bathroom. You may hear them barking and growling, but that's how life with dogs is. So let's get started. I have two boy Chanel handbags. I have this mauve boy, so pretty. And then I have this black and silver beautiful, stunning handbag. I did not deliberately pick these two handbags myself, but once I started to wear them, I began to understand the allure of the Chanel handbag. Before I got these two bags, whenever I would see the boy Chanel in the stores, I was looking at them, but I was afraid to buy one because I didn't really know what to make out of that more masculine, more streamlined design. The boy Chanel handbags in general are wider than the classic flap. The chain is also thicker than the classic design. One distinct look is that the hardware is chunkier, has more metal, and a lot of times it looks more distressed, almost an antique look, especially compared to the dainty jewelry look of the classic. So how did I end up with my first boy Chanel? Get this. One fall day, I was out running errands. And when I came home, I walked into the house through the garage door, walked into the kitchen, and on the kitchen counter, there was a Chanel shopping bag sitting there. I was like, ah! I was speechless. My husband surprised me with a Chanel shopping bag. Imagine you coming home and finding on your kitchen counter this handbag sitting there waiting for you. But what's telling about it, my husband picked this handbag, the boy Chanel, out of all the handbags in the store. A man had to pick this handbag for me. I did not have the courage to pick this handbag for myself. This second boy Chanel, it was kind of a surprise too. The way I ended up with this handbag, my husband and I happened, and I can hardly contain my smile. My husband and I happened to be in the Chanel store. A friend of ours was looking to buy a Chanel handbag for his wife, and my husband gave him a ride over there. When we walked into the store, inside the Chanel store at the Wynn Hotel in Las Vegas, kind of in the middle of the store, there's a case, and inside that case, there's always a more special Chanel bag displayed in that case. This handbag was in that case that day. Long story short, my husband asked me, "Do you want this handbag?" Can you imagine me saying, "Oh no, sweetie, I don't want it. No, I don't want that handbag." Of course, I was like, "Yes, please, thank you." So this is how I ended up with this. This is my most special Chanel handbag. Look at it. It's so beautiful. But again, my husband picked this second boy Chanel. It was not the design I picked. So now I have two boy Chanel handbags, and once I started to wear them, I understood the difference between the boy Chanel and the classic Chanel and the purpose of the boy Chanel handbag. And the best way I can describe it, it's in how I feel when I wear these handbags. When I wear a classic Chanel handbag, I feel kind of like this. You see? Ladylike, girly, pretty. And when I wear the boy Chanel, I feel kind of like this, trendier, edgier, maybe even a bit of a masculine appeal. Let's look in a bit more depth at the boy Chanel handbags. These handbags were introduced in the 2011 Fall-Winter collection by Karl Lagerfeld. He named the collection in honor of Coco Chanel's greatest love of her life, Boy Capel, hence you have the name, the Boy Chanel. This line of handbags marks a revolutionary turn in the Chanel collection, in that the design house makes its mark to appeal all the way from the ultimate girly girl Chanel lover through the classic Chanel, all the way to the dark, grudge, rock and roll Chanel lover through the boy Chanel. If a woman happens not to want to wear her grandmother's style Chanel handbag, a boy Chanel will certainly appeal to such a woman. We are approaching 10 years since the launch of the boy Chanel, and every Chanel lover out there will admit that the boy Chanel handbags has become a classic staple in the Chanel collection. So now the boy Chanels are offered in many sizes, many colors, many fabrics and leathers to fit every lifestyle, need, and preference out there. Also, as you know from my previous videos, Chanel handbags are known for their versatility, and the boy Chanel handbag matches that versatility as well. My first boy Chanel is this beautiful mauve Chanel handbag in calfskin leather with caviar finish. Unlike the typical classic quilted pattern, this handbag has a chevron pattern, which gives it a more interesting look. I wear this handbag a lot through the day, often with a single strap on my shoulder or the double strap. Sometimes I even just carry the double strap in my hand. Every now and then I wear it as a crossbody, but not too much because I feel like it's just a bit too thick for my preference to wear it as a crossbody. As you can see, the inside of the handbag, let's take out all the, I'm always meticulously keeping things inside the handbag to protect the structure of the handbag. It's very important. As you can see, the inside of the handbag has a very simple design compared to the classic design. It's basically just one big compartment with a very tiny storage compartment right here. Oh, that's the authentication card. There are no pockets on the outside of the bag, and it also only has one flap. This is my second boy Chanel handbag. It is absolutely stunning. So, I don't have enough words to describe it. The handbag is in calf leather with black and clear crystals and silver studs. One of the things I really like about this handbag is the color of the chain and the hardware. Obviously it's not gold, but it is not silver either. It's almost a gunmetal color. It almost looks like a piece of jewelry, doesn't it? Even though it's chunky, it's also quite heavy. but the color makes it look like a beautiful piece of jewelry. Very stunning. The inside of the handbag, it's very similar to my other Boy Chanel handbag. Again, I always keep packaging inside. The inside of the handbag, it has a very simple design, just one big compartment, one storage compartment here. And of course, the authentication card. No outside pockets either. I have 2 words of caution regarding the Boy Chanel. But first, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, Richie over here would like to ask you very nicely to please subscribe to my mom's YouTube channel. It would mean a lot to her. So please subscribe to my channel and also click that bell notification to alert you each time I upload a new video. So the first word of caution I have about the Boy Chanel's is to avoid lambskin leather. Remember this video right here on lambskin versus caviar? I mentioned how soft of a leather lambskin is, and notice on the Boy Chanel how square the corners are. Now imagine a soft leather such as lambskin on the boy design would not do well. You will notice signs of wear and tear much quicker if you buy a Boy Chanel in lambskin leather. The second word of caution is regarding the clasp and the way it closes. And I am guilty of this myself. So it's a word of caution and reminder for myself too. The proper way to close the handbag. Notice the clasp. You press on the clasp here on the side. Obviously you open it. When you close it, you are supposed to, and I am supposed to do that myself. I don't do it way too often. Is I press on the clasp again, and you nicely and gently close the handbag. What I often do and should not do is this. Handbag is open, and then I just press down to lock it. No. Did you notice what happened when I did that? When I pressed down on the clasp? Basically, it's not only squished my handbag, but caused the bottom of the handbag to sag. So the proper way is to always close in the clasp and gently put over the closing and release. The third word of caution regarding the Boy Chanel handbags, it has to do on how you maintain your handbag. I urge you to watch my video on the 3 things you need to know before buying a Chanel, and follow all the maintenance tips I give in that video. The Boy Chanel handbag, the bottom of the handbag is not as structured as the classic design. Therefore, if you don't properly maintain it the way I described in the video I mentioned, this handbag will be more likely to get squished, or the bottom of the handbag will become saggy. This video concludes my series on Chanel handbags for now. I will have other videos on Chanel handbags in the future, but for now, this is my last video on Chanel handbags. 2 points before I let you go. You have 1 more week to enter my special giveaway for this beautiful Chanel wallet on chain. And next week, we are starting a new series on skincare. I am very excited about this series because, as you know, I do not wear any foundation. This is my actual skin. And in the series that I am starting next week, I will record every video in that series with no makeup on, because I want you to see my real skin. And And in every video, I am going to disclose everything step by step what I do to get the skin, because I believe every woman can achieve the skin I have, the skin where you don't have to wear foundation when you do your makeup. So I'm very excited about what's coming up. Remember, subscribe to my channel if you have not done so, and leave me a comment below on what you think about my videos, and enter my giveaway that's going to end next week. Thank you so much for joining me. See you next time. Richie, did you go through the trash?